Food industry staff of Reddit. What are some horrors you saw yesterday on Valentine's Day? Bartender here, not my guest but a guest in the restaurant, threw up on his steak not even a minute after it was placed in front of him. His date kept surprisingly calm for that scenario. Chef made a special menu. No one ordered a single thing from it. This was an Irish pub, mind you, and was more of a runoff for those not celebrating. Waste of food and labor cost. Was my first shift. Or reading that made me feel so bad. All their effort, while they probably had to miss the day themselves, and tried to make others feel special. Food court at the mall. Just a lot of dudes standing or sitting at a table for hours with flowers, gifts, etc. Some of the dates showed up, some left alone. One of our favorite regular customers brought in her boyfriend for the first time, and in her excitement she bumped into a table and knocked someone's cup off. Which isn't bad, but in her haste to pick up the cup she hit her head on the corner of the metal table and cut her forehead open. It looked like a mini crime scene. Her, man, this is a really great steak. Him, did you say this is a really great date? Her, no. So, I had some guy who couldn't get the concept of ravioli. He kept asking if we hollowed out a spaghetti, his words, and stuffed it with lobster. I said no, but we did use pasta. He kept reiterating that he wanted a pasta. It finally dawned on me. Sir, do you think that spaghetti is the Italian word for pasta? His date was clearly unimpressed. But I finally get him down for an order of lobster ravioli, even though he still seemed unaware of what he was actually ordering. After he got his food, ate one of the ravioli, he said to me, like I was the dumbest shit on the planet, "Bro, all you had to do was tell me that they were boiardies. I know what those are." Work at a pizza place. Heart-shaped pizzas that took twice as long to put in a pan, and nobody was allowed to order ahead of time because corporate thought it'd be hella busy. Online orders weren't going through properly, so we had some customers waiting for their pizza for a solid 40 to 50 minutes. Short-staffed on delivery drivers as well. Overall pretty stressful. I work in a kitchen at a popular steakhouse. We had a wait of over 200 parties and we ran out of buzzers. Things were a mess. Anyway, we had a new guy working that night because everyone has quit. He sent out steaks all at the wrong temp. We had mediums come back well and well-dones go out rare. No specific disaster, but that was the worst and so hard to watch. A bit of context. There's a front desk girl who everyone hates because she doesn't do her job, goes on smoke breaks too much, and just generally bothers everyone while they're working. Anyway, so I'm on salad and dessert prep and I had about 8 tickets that I was struggling to make, and I hear the front desk girl ask if the tray of garlic bread that just came out of the oven was any of the waitress's. The thing about garlic bread is you have to pay for it, so there's a set number of slices. So she turns to me and asks if it's anyone's while I'm busy AF. So I just shrug and try to finish up the orders. I look up and see her just finishing shoving the entire piece in her mouth. Not 30 seconds later, one of our waitresses walks in and goes, "Where's the last piece of garlic bread?" I don't even look up and just go, "The front desk girl ate it." The waitress went off on that girl and told our manager, who also went WTF. Me and all the other cooks were laughing our heads off. Just in general, don't steal a customer's food. I worked at a fine dining restaurant years ago. A middle-aged guy comes up to me, hands me a gorgeous sapphire and diamond ring, just gorgeous, and asks me to have the pastry chef include it with his companion's dessert. The chef found beautiful blooms to decorate her dessert plate and placed the ring in the middle of one. She saw the ring, took it out of the flower, and placed it on the table. Then, she picked up her fork and started to eat her dessert without saying anything at all. The ring must have been an extravagant I screwed up apology on his part, and she was having none of it. I was tempted to say if she doesn't want the ring, I do. I bartend. I'm assuming this couple was on a date. They just ordered the food. In less than 10 minutes of the date, I saw the girl take a drink, and I mean a full 20-ounce beer, and throw it on the guy. It hit the people behind him, the walls, and it soaked the floor too. She immediately walked out almost in tears. The guy's face as he just sat there soaked in beer was indescribable. It was the most movie-like breakup I've ever seen happen in real life. I bartended in the lobby of a fancy hotel in Wisconsin. A woman put a cigarette in her mouth and asked what I would do if she lit it. I told her security would probably escort her out. She then proceeded to try and light it, calling me names, while her friends forced the lighter away from her. Also, a couple Japanese dudes from San Francisco were at the bar, and this racist-ass dude at the end of the bar kept demanding that I check them for coronavirus, and he wouldn't shut up about how scared he was that they were there. I ended up cutting him off, asking him to leave. So many trash people last night. So the pizza place I work for cuts all the pepperoni pizzas into hearts, and we had to make about 450 of those, plus 250 more pizzas, in 4 hours. Our slogan is take and bake, so obviously we make the pizzas and you take them and bake them at home. Several times, we had people get their pizzas at the end of the line and go, "It's not cooked." Deadpan. My coworker looked at them and said yes, to every single one of them. Also, I took a phone call and I said, "When will you be coming to get your pizza?" And she goes, "Actually, I'd like it delivered." Needless to say, we didn't deliver it and she hung up. Last year I worked at a high-end sweets shop. Everything is top-notch as advertised. It was what people were willing to do for it that scared me. Chocolate-covered strawberries, $50 per box of 4. We couldn't keep them in stock, and more than a few sweaty husbands begged us to make more and throw them in any container we had. One guy walking in on Valentine's morning offered to pay us double. Even without the fancy romantic packaging, we didn't take it. We had also sold a big embroidered heart-shaped box for nearly $100. One guy asked us how much it cost, left, and came back later with his friend. He'd asked him for a loan to buy V-Day chocolates. Relationships are wild. A man came in and ordered 50 quarter-pounders at the McDonald's I work at. I got off just before we started making them, so I lucked out. But if you know how the kitchens work at McDonald's, you know the horror this entails. We had a reservation for a kid's birthday party on the bus. We have a seating section on our old school bus. A preteen couple comes in and the guy gets mad because we told him we couldn't seat them on the bus due to the reservation. He tried to force his way up after being told repeatedly no. Pretty sure he was trying to impress his date, who watched this all unfold. I never really understand how people would think this kind of behavior is attractive. It's because chicks are biologically attracted to alpha dudes, because when they breed they want a good protector for the cubs. My older brother learned it on 4chan. Not an employee but a bystander. Me and my friends meet up at this big food court to hang out, where one of them who got there an hour early saw this one dude with a bouquet and a giant teddy bear. Almost 5 hours later we come back to the food court for lunch and the guy was still there, still with no date. He left shortly after and we watched him make call, throw the flowers at the ground, pick them back up and leave. A server said they walked by the table and heard the boyfriend say, "Well, once again I'm sorry to disappoint," in a really bad tone. Real awkward, quiet for another 20 minutes, then got the checked and quickly walked out. Not a staff, but a bystander. My wife and I went to Cheesecake Factory for lunch. In a bid to avoid the crowds, next to us, a dude got down on one knee and proposed yes. In a Cheesecake Factory. The waitress was filming it. People were watching. She saw the ring and started crying. He smiled, and all looked good. ... Except when my wife and I left 20 minutes later, she was still crying, covering her face, and he wasn't smiling anymore. I couldn't hear well enough to know what they were talking about, but they kept speaking in low voices. Didn't look good. Proposing to someone in a Cheesecake Factory has got to be the least romantic thing ever. Had a woman at my place get extremely annoyed because she wanted her prime rib sizzling hot but also rare as possible. Like, lady, have you ever actually eaten prime rib or have any idea what the process is? Jesus Christ. Just a bystander here, but I walked into a grocery store yesterday evening, which was pretty packed with last-minute frantic-looking Valentine's Day shoppers. I walked in at the same time as another man with a confused look on his face, and I hear him say out loud to himself, "Man, the store is pretty packed for a Friday evening." Then, we both turn the corner and are met with all of the last-minute flower arrangements and Valentine's cards layout, and I see the man completely freeze and again out loud. He says, "Oh, no, 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 today is Valentine's Day, shit I'm so as he quickly runs to the chocolate section, joining the rest of the panic-stricken dudes with the same looks on their faces. Hope those dudes are all still alive this morning." Happened to my friend who works in the food industry. She worked a 14-hour shift, then wanted to meet up with her boyfriend afterwards to give him his B-Day gift. He gave her an address, and when she shows up, she realizes it's a strip club. He did not tell her he was at a strip club, only gave her an address she used to call an Uber, so she goes inside, B-Day balloons and gift in hand, finds him, drops off his gift and Ubered back home alone. Poor lass. 5 hours of full house. Very angry chef. Plates stacking up in the window. Hour-long wait times for food. Beautiful scallops though. I had a man verbally abusing his wife at my table, and I don't mean talking over her and being rude, I mean saying things like, "What the do you think you're doing, you bitch, and I'll give you $36,000 to get the out of here right now, you piece of shit." Had 4 different tables complain about him, and we eventually asked them to leave. I've never seen anything like it before. At one point the guy went to the restroom, and I went up to the wife and asked if I could help in any way and if she was alright. I've never wanted to assault someone in my life more than that piece of shit.